Okay, and here is a view underneath the chassis. I have to sort of apologise for the poor lighting. This camera doesn't really function well under low light conditions. It becomes extremely pixelated and very jerky, so hence why I've got the counterpoise lamp with the incandescent bulb basically firing directly at what I'm doing. So the best I can do really for the circumstances. So yeah, I'll just zoom in here and have a look. I'll just move the light to the various positions as need be. As you can see, I have replaced quite a few components on here. This area here is the power supply, EHT, horizontal, vertical output drive, and all that sort of thing. So yeah. Most of the parts I pulled out were either drifted or, gone off value or whatever. Especially these, especially some of the capacitors here, resistors in the vertical section. All these were particularly bad. All the solar point ones are all they're all leaking everything. And I particularly noticed they had quite a few problems. I had vertical problems, had height, linearity problems, had sync problems, horizontal and vertical. The horizontal sync was very touchy and quite unstable. I even found by changing channels to be enough to actually make the sync become unlocked. And basically cured that by changing all the capacitors and some of the resistors around the horizontal oscillator area, as you can see there. And a lot of the solar 0.1s were replaced with these 0.1630 polyester caps you can see down here. I did make a point of checking all the mica caps as well, as because I have had the mica caps do strange things in radio sets, and also from what I've read on Video Karma and Antique Radio Forum, that a few guys have struck problems with the caps in the horizontal oscillator section, causing all sorts of weird problems. So eventually I might replace them. But for now, I'll leave them in there. I mean, the set seems to be running fine in that respect. But yeah, I'll just see how it goes, pretty much. So, yeah. So, I did change one or two dog bone resistors here as well. A couple of them are like replacing that one there, and I think that one there may have been a dog bone. I'm not too certain now. I'll have to have a look for my bag of bits to try and identify what parts were crook. But yeah, regards to these carbon resistors here, they still seem to check okay. Yeah, these ones here certainly checked alright as well. Now the filter capacitors. These filter caps, they're actually new old stock ones that also came out of Alan's house. He would have had probably a stash of them, obviously for future sets he was going to manufacture, but I only really came across a small, I think I got 3 or 4 of them only. But these caps basically are new, and they actually reformed very well. I was quite surprised. The original ones had sort of spewed their guts out and they were bulging and everything, and yeah, so I thought, well, haven't got a lot of room under there. I thought, well, okay, I'll reform them and put them in and see what happens, and they seem to be fine. There are 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. So it sort of comes about 100 and something, 100 and do my maths here, about 180 UF, something like that. And I think the values have risen slightly. The capacity is slightly higher, but it's but no, they're fine. I've run the set for several hours, and yeah, the caps stay nice and cool. There's nothing strange goes on. They just seem to be quite okay. And I also left the original diodes in there as well. Although I might eventually change with 1N4007s eventually, but for now they seem to be fine. So I'll just leave them in there for now, and yeah, just see how they go. I have got the originals here somewhere. I'll just go and get them. Hang on a second. these are the originals here. These are the original ones here. As you can see, they are basically pretty much past their use by date, as you can see by looking at that. Both of them are pretty crusty. So the ones in there are basically identical to the ones that came out. You can't really see the writing on them because they're all on the inside, but yeah, so it's pretty much the old dead capacitors there. So okay, and moving over to the other side of the chassis. So you just slide along and take the silly lamp with it. And this side's pretty much untouched, apart from a couple of filter caps which were bad and I had to replace them, they were crook. But as you can see, this side here is pretty much all original. The old dog bones there, and as you see, plenty of the old good old solar 0.1 capacitors there. It's quite hard case because I've got a couple of radios Alan made, and they're built on one of these chassis, and underneath they're octal valves, same components, exactly same layout, using the same metal tubes, 6v6, 6x5, only two glass tubes in the set, and yeah, it's quite interesting seeing the whole thing made up onto radio chassis. As you can see, you can actually see the holes where the original controls for the radio set would have gone through. Well, you can see it on the side as well. Same thing, the holes where the original pots and things would have been. Yeah, but one thing about Alan, he was very fastidious when it came to making things look neat. Like, you know, all nicely laid out and everything nicely wired, and even these little wee tag strips here. If you look closely, they've got a thread there which pokes through the chassis and a screw and a nut, and there's a little wee brass collar there as well that the thing slides through. And yeah, so, you know, really sort of had an eye for detail, Alan did. And as you can see, he's also used a band change switch wafer as a tag strip terminal, as you can see there. Now underneath there, there's a block of 4 capacitors. Those 4 capacitors there, they're 10 plus 10 at 450. I did get some new ones of these too out of his house, but they wouldn't reform, and most of them just seem to spew their guts when you sort of put any sort of reasonable voltage on them. So definitely those ones can't be reused in anything. I mean, I generally make a point of replacing the filter caps with new electrolytic capacitors where I can. But if I've got some old stock that reforms okay, and you know, I'll use that as well. Yeah, so I was thinking, do I pull that off and try and change those caps? I thought, no way, because it's going to be absolute mission to get those off. So what I'm going to have to do is just tidily put electrolytics around here. That one there's pretty much permanent. The two 10 plus 10 mics were strung together and basically strung together in series to make about 40 microfarad, and so I just found where the wiring went and put that one basically in its place. Originally when I powered the setup, I had no video. The video side was just totally dead. All the voltages were quite low, and I found that this resistor here was getting quite hot. Was it? No, it was one of these resistors here was getting quite hot, and it turned out that one side of the 10 mic cap had actually gone short circuit. So once I just temporarily tacked that 10 mic 450 in there, and I had video back again. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about underneath here. I will basically end up replacing all these anyway. I'll go through and do the side as well, check all the resistors, change all the capacitors, and just peace of mind, because I mean, you know, the caps of all age, and who's to know, you know, 6 months down the track if something else goes wrong, and just peace of mind that they're all done as well. So yeah, I think these resistors, I've seen these resistors used in old Philips radios, and these resistors are very reliable, that they don't drift or anything. Like these all check, and it's 1 meg, and that's still 1 meg, and there's 27k, and 2.7, I think 25k, yeah, both 25 and 27k, sorry. Those resistors are fine. And basically I'm running the set as it is, pretty much, so all the original components on the side are all still there, all still working. But eventually I will change them. So yeah, so while I'm under here too, that's your vertical output transformer, that's your HT filter choke, power transformer there, horizontal oscillator adjustment coils there. That's probably be your HT droppers down there. There's a looking at that. So, and yeah, you can see even these little coils. He would have done basically. He would have wound these coils. All by hand. He had coil winders and everything in there, you know, to make all these parts. And Alan was not one to waste anything. So all leftover parts or surplus things he could buy from government stores or auctions, he would have brought up in order to continue the manufacture of his radios and TVs in the 1960s. So very interesting indeed. Also, this TV is also featured on Video Karma and the UK Radio Repair and Restoration Forum as well, and on my blog spot. Now, if you want to visit my blog spot, it is nzvintagetvradio.blogspot.com if you want to go and visit that. And this set is featured on there, and there's also several other TVs as well which have also been featured on there as well. So I might get around to doing the little videos and those eventually. Just when I get around to it, I suppose. Okay, well, I guess now I will move on to showing you some of the components I pulled out and the valve layout chassis, the valve layout chart. So yeah, back in a sec.